Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tara Arnold, and a few weeks ago I posted a video on quantum jumping into fifth dimension. And from that video there was a lot of questions that came up that showed me where everybody was vibrating with it, how people understood it. So the questions that came up from that's what this video is going to be about tonight. Before we begin, I just want to remind everyone that our next live group channeling event is this Saturday. It's an exciting one. It's all about activating the next level of our heart chakra. So there's levels to our heart chakra, and I will channel the Ascended Masters as they bring through light code frequencies to activate the next level. Everyone's vibrating somewhere different, so it depends on where you're at, what you'll receive. You can just ask your spirit to be open to receiving. This is a live event via Zoom. We have them about every 6 weeks. So it is on our website. I will put the details in the description below and the link to our website. So if you'd like to join us, 2 p.m. Saturday, April 12th, ADT, and it is via Zoom. So hope to see you there. Okay, so I'm going to get started, and the first thing St.Germain's bringing in is he's showing me that there's some confusion about moving to fifth dimension. So fifth dimension isn't a place we're going, it's a state of consciousness. So what happens is we change our vibration and the world around us begins to change. So we're changing it from within us. The reason why we say to visualize like flying from third dimension to fifth dimension is to program the subconscious mind, to show the subconscious mind that you're moving from one frequency of the third dimension into a frequency of the fifth dimension. So even though we're like visualizing like we're flying and leaving our physical body, we're not really going anywhere because everything's happening now. So time's like now stacked moments, as most of you know already. So it's everything's happening now. There's nothing outside of us, so it's happening from within us, and everything in our reality is like energy projected in front of us, reflecting back to us. And space is an illusion as well. So we believe that there's space, like there's distance, but St.Germain shows me that space and distance are an illusion as well. So when you're telling and showing the subconscious mind, I'm going to move from third dimension to fifth dimension, in order for the subconscious mind to know that you would like to shift places, how you do that is just visualize showing it that you're flying from third dimension to fifth dimension, or you could write it down. If you don't visualize, you could just state it. I'm moving from third dimension into fifth dimension. So what you're doing is you're programming your reality into the subconscious that there's going to be a shift from one frequency of one dimensional frequency, so a third dimension reality, to a fifth dimension reality. So when I say to fly out, you're really not going anywhere, but the subconscious has no reasoning. So all it knows is what we tell it. So it just stores the information. So if you tell it, I'm moving physically, mentally, emotionally, I'm moving my vibration from third dimension into fifth dimension, then it's going to start doing that. But because we don't have a concept of what it would be like to not to have space or time, our subconscious, it doesn't have reasoning. So all it knows is like what we're storing in it. So if we give it a visualization that we're moving from third dimension into fifth dimension by flying out into the cosmos or flying into the center of the physical heart, the subconscious says, oh, they would like me to move from third dimension to fifth dimension. So it's going to move it, even though it's happening now, it's happening like within us. It's not outside of us. So fifth dimension isn't a place we're going. We change our frequency from within us, and then everything around us shifts to match that frequency. Okay, so he said there was a little bit of confusion of that, like when we move into fifth dimension, that we're actually going somewhere else, but it's the visualization that we're doing so that the subconscious knows that we're shifting energies. So what that means is fifth dimension isn't separate from us. We already have it. We're not going anywhere to get it. It's already there. So it's just aligning with the frequency of it. So St.Germain says, stop looking for proof that something's there. Stop looking and seeking validation that you're connecting with fifth dimension. You have to know it 100%. So you're not receiving anything, you're becoming it. You're becoming the vibration that you want to align with, and then it will get created in your reality. So the universe has already said yes. It says yes to everything that we put out into the universe. It says yes to. So you don't have to worry about whether the universe will reward you with that, or whether it's going to be able to be created in your reality. The universe has already said yes to your desires. It's just aligning with it. So you're becoming that frequency. You're becoming that reality. It's not outside of us. So we're just aligning with it. And the way that St.Germain shows me that might help people understand a little bit easier is he shows me a computer. And he says, the computer is turned on and you're searching on the internet. And when you search for something on the internet, it will open up third dimension tabs. So your subconscious is like the internet. Everything on the internet has already been coded. So when you search something, the internet gives you options to choose something out of your search. And so when you click on it, it opens a third dimension tab. Okay, so this is the same as when we program our subconscious mind with our belief systems, with our conditioning, our childhood upbringing, all the beliefs from our parents and ancestors, and within our DNA. All these programs and beliefs are like the storage. It's like the internet. It has all the information. So the subconscious says, I've got all this information stored in my head. I've got all these third dimension beliefs, but all third dimension beliefs are fear-based because they have to have the polarity of the light. They have to have the polarity of what you are within it. So everything in third dimension comes with struggle, suffering, polarities, contrast, duality. It comes with fear or emotions that sometimes are very uncomfortable. So even if you're enjoying something, you're having joy, something will come into your reality to mirror back to you something that you haven't transmuted within yourself. So you might be enjoying something, but then a friend shows up that bullies you. And then you're like, oh, I'm not enjoying this activity anymore because they started bullying me. Like, we're always creating in our reality, our third dimension reality, we're always creating the polarity of our light because that's the game. It's third dimension. It means it's a game of polarities. So as you're looking at the computer, and the computer is your subconscious, like the computer, the internet is your subconscious, and you type in what you're searching for and you open a tab, you're opening a third dimension tab in your subconscious. And because we have so many beliefs and programs, you might have 80 million tabs. And every time you search something, another tab opens in third dimension. And in fifth dimension, if you maybe meditated 10 minutes that day, your subconscious will open one fifth dimension tab. But it has 80 million third dimension tabs, and your frequency, where you're vibrating at, what you focus on most gets created in your reality. So your subconscious has no reasoning. All it knows is that she typed in what she wanted to search for in my reality. So for example, she wanted to have coffee when she woke up this morning. But because I'm in a third dimension reality, that coffee might come with a lot of struggle. So maybe it doesn't taste as good. I burn myself. I have to make it. It's not made for me. There's something I have to do. There's a lot of doing to it. And maybe I ran out of coffee and now I've got to go to the store. So there's just like this struggle and suffering that I've created. When I typed in, I would like coffee, or I'm going to create coffee in my third dimension reality. It opened a tab that was a frequency of third dimension. Struggling, suffering, fear-based frequencies. If I asked the universe and programmed to the universe that I'm going to stop opening third dimension tabs and I'm going to start opening fifth dimension tabs, what would that look like? I'm going to type in, I would like a coffee in fifth dimension. Well, fifth dimension doesn't have any polarities. It doesn't have any struggle or suffering. So the universe can only deliver what you're programming it like in your subconscious. So you've got to tell your subconscious what that looks like, because the subconscious hasn't yet coded. It doesn't have the coding, or you haven't coded it to start opening up fifth dimension tabs. So when you meditate, you go into a fifth dimension frequency and it opened up a fifth dimension tab because you were present, you were in the now moment. So it easily opened it. When you were present, going for a walk in nature, it opened another fifth dimension tab because you were in the now moment. But when your subconscious is programmed with every day you get up to have coffee and you have 20,000 tabs that are opening of memories of having and making coffee, and a lot of times that coffee came with struggle or suffering. Maybe you heard bad news while you were drinking the coffee. Maybe you spilled it on you and burned yourself. All those tabs open. So 80,000 tabs just opened because I'm creating coffee in my reality. And the subconscious only knows what we've programmed it. You're going to want to change that program so it starts opening a fifth dimension reality with your coffee. So you've got to tell it what you're desiring, what you would like in your reality. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to wake up feeling good. My body's going to feel good. I'm going to move into fifth dimension. I'm telling my subconscious, we're moving into fifth dimension. I'm not saying it like, can we move into fifth dimension? I'm not asking it a question. I'm telling it what's in my reality. I'm waking up in the morning, and usually I wake up in pain. I'm going to start waking up in fifth dimension reality where I have perfect health, where my physical body feels good, where I do not feel any pain, where I only vibrate in divine love. My physical body feels relaxed and feels good when I wake up. Then the subconscious mind will start to program that. I'm also going to tell it that I'm going to wake up and have coffee, but I'm having coffee in fifth dimension. I don't want third dimension coffee anymore. So I'm telling it a new program. I'm going to say, subconscious, I am moving into fifth dimension. I'm going to create a fifth dimension reality. This is what's getting created in my reality. I'm waking up, the coffee's already made. I don't have to make it myself. So there's no struggle, there's no doing. The coffee is the best coffee I've ever tasted. Every time I wake up, I'm waking up and I'm moving into a fifth dimension reality where my body feels good and the coffee is the perfect temperature. It's the perfect taste. It's the most delicious coffee I've ever had in my life, and somebody else makes it for me. I do not burn myself because that's not in fifth dimension. I have a pleasant experience with my fifth dimension coffee. So somebody had asked, well, can you know, when you're creating something, do you say the negative or the positive? Or do you have to say one or the other? Like, does it have to be, because they were asking, like, sometimes when you go to create something, somebody's saying, don't say the negative. Like, don't say, I'm not going to burn myself. But I'm reprogramming my subconscious mind to tell it that doesn't exist in our reality. So all the times that I get burned with the coffee, I'm going to shut those third dimension tabs. So maybe I burned myself 10 times in the past 20 years with coffee. I'm closing those tabs. So I'm telling the subconscious, those tabs are no longer open. I'm shutting the tabs in my third dimension reality where I get burned with coffee. I no longer get burned with coffee. Those are shutting. I'm moving to fifth dimension where the coffee is perfect. I don't get burned. It's a perfect temperature, perfect taste, most delicious coffee, and it's made for me. So all those times that I woke up in the morning and had to make my coffee, maybe it's 800 times. 800 times I've made my own coffee. So I'm closing 800 tabs. So as you're closing the tabs over here in third dimension, you're reprogramming it to have a fifth dimension reality. So you started with 80 million tabs open in third dimension, but just by changing the reality with your coffee, you've closed hundreds of them. All the times that you got burned, all the times you had to make your own coffee, all the times your coffee was too cold. I'm going to shut those tabs. Maybe there's 30 of those. And all the times my coffee was too hot, I'm going to shut all those tabs. So now your subconscious says, oh, her vibration or his vibration or their vibration is starting to shut down the third dimension reality and open more tabs in the fifth dimension reality. So you can program one thing after another in fifth dimension, or you can focus on a few things in your reality and just keep repeating that. The subconscious needs to hear it over and over and over. It needs to know it by programming it, similar to how people do like positive affirmations. It's like you keep repeating it, keep repeating it. The subconscious will just store the information. It doesn't judge. It doesn't have any reasoning. Say it as if it's already happened. I'm in fifth dimension. I'm waking up. I'm in fifth dimension. I'm opening my fifth dimension tab where my coffee is perfect. It is the best tasting coffee I've ever had. It's the best temperature. You're stating it as if it's already happened because you're creating in this now moment as if it already is theirs, and then you're moving to align with it. This is what's happening, and then the subconscious just starts storing it. So it is repetitive. It is going to take some time. It just wants to know what tabs to open. So every area of your life, ask yourself these questions. St.Germain saying, ask, if I was doing this right now in third dimension, what would that look like? And if I was doing this same thing in fifth dimension, what would that look like? So if you go to sleep at night and you have nightmares, what would it look like if you had a fifth dimension sleep? So in third dimension, you have nightmares, you are afraid to fall asleep because of the nightmares, you don't get a good rest because of the nightmares, they might wake you up, and then you feel panicked and you can't get back to sleep, so you might go to work tired. So that's your third dimension reality. Fifth dimension, tell the subconscious, I'm going to open up more tabs in fifth dimension. I'm creating a fifth dimension reality. This is what my fifth dimension reality looks like. I go to sleep and I have the best sleep ever. I don't have any nightmares that scare me, unless you want to transmute something in your sleep, because there's that too. But you're telling the subconscious what you're desiring, what that looks like, and then it's going to start getting created, because the subconscious says, oh, she doesn't want to have to keep waking up all night from nightmares. So we're going to create something different. So the subconscious will seek to find evidence to align with that. It's going to work for you based on what you're programming it to do. So every single thing in your reality, when you go to work, what do you want your day to look like? What does it look like in third dimension, and where would you like it changed? When you interact with family or friends. What does that look like in third dimension, and what would you like to change? So every area in your life, where would you like it to change from a third dimension reality to a fifth dimension reality? And you just start to program that in. Now remember, it's based on your belief system too. So if you would like to be financially free, but you have 100 tabs that are open with poverty belief system, it might take a while to get there because you've got to close all those tabs. Now you can do this all at once, or just take little aspects of your life and keep repeating it. So you're just going to keep storing and programming new fifth dimension beliefs so that the subconscious will start to vibrate there. And somebody had asked, well, what about our third dimension transmuting? We've got to transmute all this darkness, this deep darkness that we came to awaken on planet Earth, and we've got to transmute it back to love. And we're in a third dimension reality as we do that. And then as we transmute it, it expands our consciousness. Like, aren't we supposed to be doing that during the spiritual awakening? And St.Germain saying, you've done that and you can continue doing that, or you can just start creating a fifth dimension reality, because as you're creating the fifth dimension reality and the tabs, the belief tabs are closing, your consciousness is transmuting it. So in third dimension, there's a lot of work to the awakening. You've got to deal with all the emotions and transmute them, but we've, as a collective consciousness, have raised our vibrational frequency to the point where we can go into a fifth dimension reality. And as we move into that and start creating there, third dimension belief systems are collapsing without us having to do the work. Like, we've expanded our consciousness, and the universe, the planet Earth, has raised her consciousness. And now we're at the point of having access to fifth dimension without having to spend so much time in third dimension transmuting. So you can stay in third dimension and transmute all day. Or in your spiritual awakening, if you're getting tired of that game, of that transmuting game, start moving and opening up fifth dimension tabs in your subconscious and typing in what you want it to look like. And as you type that in, metaphorically, as you type it in, that is your coding to what you'd like to create in fifth dimension. And instantly, as you move into that fifth dimension reality, the third dimension tabs collapse and close that you would have spent hours transmuting during your spiritual awakening. But now you can open up tabs in fifth dimension instead and create that reality without all the work. Like, it'll still get transmuted because your spirit's doing that. Your spirit's transmuting and expanding. So as you're opening up new tabs in fifth dimension, if you have a belief system in third dimension, at the beginning of creating in fifth dimension, opening your fifth dimension tabs, whatever your fears are around that will come to the surface. So the first few times that you open up your tabs in fifth dimension, you might get a third dimension result until it clears. So that might be 3 or 4 times. So for example of that is that I command that I have the coffee is perfect temperature, all about the coffee example. The first few times, if I have a deep fear of being burned in a past lifetime from coffee and I had to have surgery, then, and there's still a little bit of those panic and fear coming up, I might burn myself the first few times. But after that, it transmutes really, really fast because I keep programming. No, I'm not going to burn myself. That's not the program. I'm going to let go of that fear. So the first few times you do any opening of your tabs in fifth dimension, you might have a louder third dimension reaction because it hasn't yet transmuted. but keep going with it, keep programming it. And then eventually you wake up, your coffee's ready, it's the perfect temperature, it's the most delicious you've ever had, and you have a really good start to your day because you've mastered it. You've transmuted all the fears around your coffee, all the judgment around coffee. Maybe you criticize yourself for drinking coffee because it's not healthy. So you might want to clear that fear. So the first few times you might feel nauseous after, because it's the universe saying you still have some tabs open over here in third dimension that coffee's not good for you. You want to reprogram that. Oh, it made me feel nauseous when I drank my coffee. That's the universe saying I opened up a fifth dimension tab, but I wasn't in alignment with it. So it showed me I felt nauseous. Why would I feel nauseous? Because I have a belief running that the coffee's not healthy for me. So I'm going to change that belief. I'm going to shut that tab. And then you say it again. You program it again. And maybe the coffee is a little bit cold, but you don't feel sick. And so you're like, no, I'm going to have the perfect temperature of coffee. Why did I create it being cold? Maybe I don't feel worthy of receiving a coffee that's the perfect temperature. So I'm going to shut that tab. So the first few days of your creation, of what you're programming, your subconscious in fifth dimension, the first few days, you might have a reaction in your reality that looks louder, like a third dimension reaction, like a third dimension experience, not reaction, but an experience. So you might create a third dimension experience. So just take note of, okay, I keep programming a fifth dimension reality, but this is showing up for the first few days. Okay, I'll shut more of those tabs, and then I can have the perfect coffee every day. And what happens is after a few days of the coffee being perfect, you no longer have to keep programming. The program will just run. So it could take a few weeks to keep repeating that about the coffee. But then after that, it just is, because you have more fifth dimension tabs open on the perfect coffee than you do third dimension struggle and suffering with your coffee. So all these tabs start to shut in third dimension. Fifth dimension, there's more tabs open. So the subconscious mind starts to create that, because it only goes where your vibrations focus the most on. And if you have more fifth dimension perfect coffee tabs open, then that's what it will seek to create. It's all the subconscious. The subconscious, when you're programming it, somebody had asked, well, what do I say to it? What I do is I take some of my third dimension beliefs and say, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. That's not going to be our belief anymore. So I'm telling the subconscious, no, we're shutting that tab. That's not the belief I have anymore. And the subconscious just says, oh, it says, okay. And then I say, this is the new belief. So I also don't use any words of uncertainty. So the subconscious doesn't understand words that are uncertain, like should, would, could, maybe. It does not understand those words. It has to be like certainty. This is what it is, and this is what is happening. This is what I'm commanding, and this is what I'm creating. This is what has already been created in my reality, and I will not take any other creation that veers from that. That's not allowed in my reality. Like, set firm boundaries with your subconscious. I wake up and my coffee is perfect, and that's it. It's a perfect temperature. It is already made for me. It is everybody's going to be sick of hearing about coffee, but everything is in perfection, and I will not veer from that. It's veering and doubting that it could be so. It's veering from your creation of what you put in as a certainty, without doubt, a knowing that it's 100%, this is how it always is, and it will be this way forever. And after a few weeks of doing that, You'll have the perfect coffee every single time because that's the only tabs that are open. That's the only thing that can get created in your reality. You create what you're focusing on more, and where you're vibrating at reflects back to you. You come into an alignment with it. So I hope this helped people, and if anybody has any more questions, just put it in the comment section below. Thanks for joining us today. I hope to see you at the live event. I will put the details in the description below and the link to our website. Have a great night.